This is a test. This station is conducting a test of the emergency broadcasting system. This is only a test.
Hey everybody, we've made it to the internet. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing out there?
Hey,
All the
everybody.
rectangles.
How's
everybody
hi,
doing?
And Yuffie
Hello.
says hi.
Hi, Yuffie. This is where we all just say hi over each other for the next couple of minutes,
Yep,
super
exactly.
awkwardly. Hi, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the internet.
Hi,
It's
It's a
been
lot
with
of
you.
people. I have
Good
to
to
say
see
hi
you.
to all of you, and then I have to say hi to everybody in the Twitch chat. It's like 30 people right there.
You
At
have to.
least.
You have to be kind, right? Eric McQuiggan, how you doing today?
I'm doing swell. I'm down here in the bunker, trying my best to, fearing from yellow skies, but everything's quite all right where I am.
Hell yeah. Eric Billingsley, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, me too. I'm also doing good. Jonah, what's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Quiet day. Got some good combos in Tony Hawk. Can't complain.
Nice. I should pick that up. Floating head.
I want to eat some combos.
Oh man.
James, the floating head, still keeping it digital.
Yeah, I'm trying to outdo Jonah's background, but it's very tough.
Hey, your eyes are doing a weird thing.
He's got that smashed wall. He's got all this great equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried really hard here with all these little guys and these tanks and stuff. But
No, your eyes are doing really weird stuff. You're winking too quickly. It's kind of creepy. Anyways, Kezia, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. As you can see, I'm in a new location. I just moved. Now my living room and kitchen are separate rooms.
Ooh.
Fancy.
Very
fancy.
fancy.
Moving up.
Very
And
upscale.
Yuffie is enjoying things too, as you are all here for Yuffie. Say
Let's get some
hi
Doritos
to
in the
all
chat for
your
Yuffie.
friends.
Doritos for Yuffie.
Woo!
What's up, Yuffie? Cool. Yeah, that's us. Thanks for joining us today. We got a pretty good show lined up. We got 6 presentations, I think, maybe 5 if I miscounted. We'll see. So everyone that you saw in the bumper video, plus a little special presentation from Jonah and me in a little bit, which should be fun. But before we kick things off, we have a few announcements. James, floating head, did you want to jump off first?
No, I was the least prepared to do my announcements. No, don't worry. Yeah, I just wanted to mention a few things. Sorry, my push to talk is also my back button that's messing up my browser. So, Reptoid Games, who have presented stuff at Dirty Rectangles here in the past, and in the live ones in Toronto. Jamie Last specifically did an excellent presentation. I mean, I don't know how many months ago that was. That was like last year, I guess, but it was cool. They just recently released their new game, Fire Tonight, which maybe I can actually just stream this or something.
Release the game.
Well, I think
People are still
they just
releasing
announced
games?
it. It's not out yet.
Oh.
But they did an
I hope so.
announcement. So
Right.
everyone in chat should wish list it, and it will be out. I think in 2021. I believe they said.
Maybe if some
Nice.
sort of link could appear in the chat.
Yes.
Um,
That would be great AV work if someone was doing that job around here.
Yeah, I'll link to the Steam website where you can wish list it.
that's okay. I feel like someone there might beat you to it, but
It'll
yeah.
pop in there. It'll pop in there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Mhm.
Other announcements?
In
There we
addition
go.
to that, also, our friends, a very similar organization to Dirty Rectangles and to Hand Eye Society here in Toronto, the Artcade at the Mackenzie Art Gallery in Regina has been doing something called DARE, which I swear I tried as hard as I could to find what that acronym actually stands for. I don't know, but it is basically a residency for people to get into game development and learn game development skills. Pip and Bar already did a talk at it and some other things. So yeah, if you check them out at their website, there's a lot of great content that they're putting out from that. Like you don't have to participate in the residency or anything. It's just they've been putting a lot of videos up of it, of little bits and pieces of it as well. So yeah, something for everybody to check out. So I'll throw a link to that in the chat as well.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Had another announcement here. We also had other friends of ours reach out from Interactive Ontario, who are hosting this business-to-business connect thing. So if you are a game developer looking to hook up with super cool business friends, this is probably the event for you. It's actually happening September 17th to 18th. You can check it out at CanadaGamesOnline.com. They have companies like Nintendo, Sega, Konami, EA, Microsoft, clearly reading a list, but that's okay. You should go check out the website again, CanadaGames.com. I'll throw it in the chat here in a second. But also another cool thing to check out. I think that was it for the announcements. Any other ones?
I've got a couple, actually.
Oh, yeah, what's up?
Throw one out. So one is that some friends in Montreal, the Pixels, are continuing to take applications for their game incubator. And they would like anyone to apply if they very specifically have never made a game before, identify as non-binary, transgender, genderqueer, a woman, or another marginalized gender. Can't even say the word anymore. Fuck it. And if you've never made a game before and you're excited about the possibility to make your first game, look into that. Their Twitter handle is Pixels, Pixel LESMTL, Pixels Montreal. But I will also link right here in the chat the game incubator. Please pass that on to anyone you know who might be interested in making games, who qualifies and maybe hasn't had a chance to make their voice heard and might have a good impact on this medium, or just a different impact on this medium, which we could honestly use. The other thing I'll mention is a really cool conference from down in St. Louis, the Pixel Pop Festival that I went to a few years ago, has gone fully online and free to participate. It's this upcoming weekend. And you can check out the talks and everything at the schedule, which I've just posted in the chat, pixelpopfestival.com/schedule. There's good folks presenting, some neat games being shown, and they're running the whole thing online. And it's run by very, very, very good folks. So please check that out as well. The talks will be excellent. I guarantee it.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Pixel Pop Festival. Get involved. Get festive.
Yep, so there is
Thanks,
also roguelike celebration. Laser Walker, Laser Walker in the chat. She is one of the core organizers. It's a pretty cool thing. So it's like this event, but it's sort of structured in like a roguelike. So it should be interesting. You can check it out here. And if you want more information, feel free to look at the site or ask M herself.
Perfect. That was pretty professional, guys.
Awesome.
Planned this. I think that's probably it for the announcements. We're gonna roll into our presentations for the night. We're gonna take just a hot minute to get our first presenter up and going. So this is a good time to go grab a drink, pretend that you're back in the Avant-Garde or the Seascape, and swing over to the bar, tip your local bartender. I don't know, put one in a swear jar or something, and we'll be back in just a minute. Boop, 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 boop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with our very first presenter of the night, Paige Marinkak. Paige, how's it going?
Good, you?
Very, very good. I'm super stoked to see what the hell this is.
This is, in short, an educational match 3 game for people, about 5 years old. But I've been told it's very addicting, especially if you like match 3 in general. So this is a game that I started end of July and I finished it end of August or so. And this is something that I made with my friend Chris. He does a lot of music for a lot of the game jams that I do. I handled pretty much everything except the audio. I guess we can show the game itself.
I love those transitions. Sorry to just jump in. They're so good.
No, that's fine. It took forever. So do we have preference on animal here?
Okay, come on, chat.
I like the frog
penguin.
personally. The frog's really cute. But
We got two votes for penguin so
people
far in the
like
chat.
the penguin though.
4
Alright.
votes
Gotta
for
go with the
penguin. Wow.
All right.
Looks like Penguin's a winner.
So, like any match 3 game, you get your lovely path to glory, I guess. You basically this is a tutorial, but you work to match shapes, get high scores, and try to clear as much of the board as possible. And you get stars based off of how well you've done. And when there's no more moves you can make, it shows this. And that's how it goes. And right now there's 6 levels in the game because I only did this in like a month part-time. But the game's this is a level that takes a bit longer, and eventually you'll get levels where the colors don't it's all the same color, so you'll have to match based on that, or different shaped triangles, other things like that. And the whole purpose is to help, because with COVID going on, I kind of thought end of June, a lot of people were talking about how much difficulty they had with homeschooling, especially if you have younger kids and you also have to work full time. And I kind of thought about well, what can I do, right? And I loved educational games as a kid. My dad was cleaning out our old drives, and he was like, look at all these old Rita Rabbit games you loved as a kid. And I kind of thought, well, why don't I try making an educational game? I mean, I made the Dr. Flower game, which I really liked making. So I came up with this. I spoke to an acquaintance of mine who's a teacher, and she kind of said, here's some guidelines. Kids that age can't read, they can't do this, they can't do that. So I tried not to have any text where I don't need it. This is a level where it's different sized triangles.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and it's just sort of like this. And I had some friends' kids play the game, and I may have started a fight between their kids because they wanted to play. This is what it is, and that's why it was made. And I hope to put in some more time near the end of the year to add more levels and sort of flesh out everything a bit more.
Your friend Chris is getting some shout outs in the chat for the clicks and the pops here in the sound design, which I would love to just echo is really, really good. It's a super satisfying little poppy clicky sound.
Yeah.
I see isosceles, I see right triangles. What's the name of that other one? It's not equilateral. It's the opposite. What's the one with the obtuse angle? I don't know what it's called anymore.
obtuse triangle.
Wouldn't it just be an obtuse triangle?
That's what it is. I think it has like a name. Somebody shouted out it in the. Oh, scaling. Scaling.
Oh, right. You know, I spent so much time reading the Ontario curriculum for like kindergartners. You'd think I would remember.
Trying to remember my grade school geometry.
So yeah, basically you want to try to get at least 1 star, and then that'll unlock the next one for you to do. And you can see here I'm doing different size circles now. They're ovals. They're just kind of stretched differently, but
Dreaded ellipse.
yeah. The hardest one is the last level, actually. So we'll see if I can get to that. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions.
Are there different point values? Like if you matched all the same shape ovals, or is it just try to max out the amount that you match?
Yeah, so you want to try to match out the max because you get a multiplier on your score the longer your line is. And the colors for these early levels are there to sort of help you understand, like, those all go together, sort of thing.
Okay, so you're trying to match similar shapes, even though they, like, similar type of shape, even though they're different shapes, I suppose, as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, all triangles need to be matched together, all squares, like the same number of sides. It's not really based by color, which a lot of people assume at first glance, which is why the next level is actually really, really hard for a lot of people. I know when I was playing it, like, most of the time I can just sort of, like, turn my brain off while doing this. But that one, I was like, oh no. Quite, yeah. Okay, wait, there's one more. This one's like the square one. So a lot of these triangles are not triangles, all these shapes are super simple right now. I kind of just wanted to show the idea. Because like some of the later levels I thought of was like relating like the triangles to pizza, right? Like that type of stuff. Or 3D objects or other shapes like that.
I'm really digging the music.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
You kind of just lose yourself in it.
Yeah, I heard from some of my coworkers they were playing it after I released it, and they were like, you know, I thought that they, like, some of them are roommates together, and they said that they thought that the person behind them would like mute it after a minute or two of listening, and they didn't, and they had to tell them to put headphones in because the music was so good. All right, so this is the last level, which is actually pretty hard, and it's hard just by changing everything to be the same color.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like you can no longer sort of, yeah, and yeah. So this one requires a little more thinking. Like I usually never get 1 star on here because, well, I'm not trying really either. But yeah, it's much more difficult. But yeah. I'm not sure if there's any other questions.
Yeah, if there's any questions in the chat as well, toss them out there while we're soothing our pains away here, basically. So you have 6 levels here. Are you gonna keep working with this now, or is this kind of like done for you, or?
No, I'm gonna be adding more stuff. I kind of need a little bit of a break from it. I wanted to get it done before the school year started. And but yeah, so I have like a bunch of ideas for like more levels, and I want to put it on like tablets. I think that would do pretty well. I know I got a request from that coworker of mine with their kids. Their 2-year-old or something wanted to play it, and they said that a mouse is kind of beyond their means right now, but an iPad isn't. So
Right. Yeah.
I'll probably be looking to things like that as well while I add some more levels.
Alan Pesaluki in the chat is wondering if there's an incorrect input, or is that like blocked?
Incorrect
Like, can you
input.
do an incorrect input? That's what he's asking here.
I don't know what incorrect would be. Like, if I went from like a square to a triangle, yeah, it's blocked. You can't do it.
You don't get that satisfying pop sound between the objects.
No. Oh, I got one
Oh,
star.
that's so good.
Nice.
And so that's kind of all the levels that I have right now.
This is so cool.
Cool.
I love.
Yeah, this is great.
I love the animals. Can we switch up our animal friend?
Oh yeah. So you can pick whomever you want.
Okay, chat. This is your chance to redeem yourself.
See,
There's
normally
a lot of cute friends here.
I would never ever choose the bear. I've never been a real bear person, but that
The
pink
bear's
bear.
pretty good. The bear's
It's-
pretty.
it's
It's
really
a very
What
cute
bear?
bear.
Is that a bear or is that a dog?
This is a bear. This is
Oh,
a
that's the
dog.
bear. Oh, I was looking. For some reason, I thought it looked like a pig to me. That is an adorable pig bear.
This is a monkey. This is a frog. This is a cat. It was very hard with the colors for these guys because like everything's like brown. Like the cat was originally brown, and then I got a request for a monkey from like a kid. I was like, oh, I'll put the monkey in for you, but the monkey can only be brown. So I had to. I made the cat black and white instead.
Oh, that's adorable. We are getting a couple of people that want to see the frog. A couple of people that want to see. Okay, yeah, Camel Frog's coming through. Let's do another run
Yeah.
with Camel
Right.
Frog.
So yeah, you click on it, and now your frog is your buddy, and he'll show up here, and he'll go around with you through all of the levels, right? And
He's always smiling.
of course he is. You're always doing a great job.
Your star.
Yeah, and so you can only get 3 stars if you clear the entire stage. So it's actually quite difficult.
And I think you'd have to do a lot of planning to actually get the whole stage clear.
Yeah, it's this, and RNG factors in a little bit too. I thought it would be okay because this is the sort of game that, like, I mean, for a 5-year-old, I'd really like them to like play a lot.
Yeah.
So.
I'm really liking all the angular flowers and sort of plant life and stuff like that. Reminds me of the style of, man, I wish I could remember the name of this game. It was like an old TIG Source game. If there's any TIG Source heads in the in the chat or whatever. It was made by like a Eastern European guy. I can't for the life of me remember about it what the name of it was. It started like a cat and it was sort of like a little puzzle game, but
I know what you're talking about.
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the map screen was very reminiscent of this, but far less colorful, I think.
Yeah, no, this is beautiful. I love the style here.
Thank you. There's a question about changing the theme colors. I'm actually planning to change the theme colors based on the level. It does work. I can change it, but I thought about like making like a lava level or something, and kind of wanted the your box to match that background versus you know, if you had like the blue one and you were having lava all behind it, kind of clash.
Right.
So for now, I have a pretty generic background here. Yeah.
So cool. I love it.
Cool.
I want
Yeah,
it.
it's great.
Is this, can I actually, can somebody get this now? Is this out? Do
Oh
you have
yeah,
to-
yeah. So you can let me get so you can play it in HTML here or download for there you go. for Windows. I'm kind of hoping to port it to Mac and Linux soon, but yeah, otherwise you can play it in the browser for now.
Cool. That's awesome. I love it. Any last questions or thoughts from anybody here in the room?
Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
All right.
This is so good.
Yeah, it was
Looks
great.
beautiful.
I love it.
You continue to
And
pump
Reader
out
Rabbit
really
was
cool
the
stuff.
best. That's all I wanted to add. I played a lot of Reader Rabbit as a kid too. That was the best.
Yeah, it looks super polished for just being done in a month. Like,
Yeah.
it looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Was part of that like just were you guys just trying to keep the scope down super tight to like nail it in a month kind of thing? Like how did you manage to get here in a month?
I kind of did like the game jam philosophy, how I do game jams. I kind of write down everything I want to get done and divide it up into have to get done and not have to get done, and nice to have things and stuff.
Yeah.
So the prototype for this screen was done, I'd say in like 4 hours. I streamed it. Chris is
That's crazy.
And then I did mock-ups in Sprite to do this. And then like I cut down obviously on the number of levels to get it done on time. All these nature assets I actually made for a different game that's not really going anywhere, so I decided to just like plop them in. So things like that.
Cool.
As soon as I sort of had the style for the screen done, I kind of knew how to handle like the UI, the other UI elements and stuff, and then that's pretty much it. Just going off the list and ticking things off.
Cool. Power of lists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, Paige.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for showing this off. This is super
Yeah.
cool. Let's
Yeah,
get
thank
some
Thank you.
shout outs and Doritos in the chat for
Get
Paige
some
here.
Doritos.
Everyone make sure you
Thank you.
swing over to Itch, play Paige's game, all that good stuff. We'll be back in just a minute with our next presenter. All right, we are back. Jonah Davison, how you doing?
Not too bad. I am really looking forward to this presentation that I haven't actually seen yet.
I messaged Jonah a few hours ago and I said, hey, do you want to jump in on this thing? And told him not to prepare. So we'll see how this goes. Jonah, and for those of you at home as well too, I would love for you to close your eyes right now. Go ahead. It's okay. No one's actually looking. No one's looking at you, Jonah. And I want you to picture a door. Okay?
Okay.
Now, not just any door. I want this to be a video game door. And I want you to picture yourself sort of like standing in front of this door and maybe like think about like how big it is, the size of it, like if it's heavy or not, the weight of it, the sound it might make. And then you reach out right in your mind's eye. You got this door. Everyone in chat has this door in their mind. And in your mind's eye, I want you to reach out and go ahead and open up that door. And then open your eyes. And was this the door?
In my case,
I was going to say for Jonah's case, it's probably not. But
it was not.
Chances are, in our however many people we have in the chat, this might have been the exact door that you thought of, right? What was your door, Jonah?
My door was the generic ass weird silvery grayish blue metal door from Half-Life 2 that every door in that game is the same door. It has a little metal handle, and when it's locked, it goes like click, click, click.
Yes, that's a very good one. I was preparing for this ever so slightly, trying to come up with some of the most iconic doors I could think of. I actually skipped over Half-Life. What else would you say would be like one of the more iconic doors in video games?
Mine was that door from like Super Mario Brothers 2 that I think is in like the first level where it's in the dark with the ninjas, and it has that weird like light shadow kind of effect.
Yeah.
The light coming through into the cave.
Hell yeah.
Do plot doors count? Like doors that have to do with like the narrative, like Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door. And I think the whole concept of Kingdom Hearts is that you unlock doors with the Keyblade.
I've never played it, but I assume so.
I've never. Well, I only played the first, but I never
There's
finished
definitely
it.
keys
But
in
I
that
figure
game.
I know there's keys and doors, and you
There
unlock
are.
them. I don't know how that continues among.
There's
all
literally
20
two
games,
doors, which is silly because there's a whole lot more keys than doors. But
hilarious. No, I mean, like maybe the harder thought exercise is like name a game that doesn't have a door, right? And maybe that's like outdoor games or skiing games or something like that. But like most generic like action adventure games have some type of door, right? It's like a fundamental mechanic in a game. Like you're using it to like gate people or to even just like section off areas or whatever, or even just for like loading and things like that, right? Like
yeah,
go ahead.
Hiding load screens or just hiding zones that you don't have to render anymore.
Yeah, and like compartmentalizing your game even, and like you're compartmentalizing it for technical reasons because of like maybe you can't load all this stuff, but like also maybe design reasons because you are designing your game in chunks and then laying those chunks out, and the easiest way to connect those chunks is with a door. Like doors are this mechanic that we use, and also like a mechanic that we like lean on in a lot of interesting ways. And you get some interesting results out of it, right? So these are like my kind of favorite types of doors, right? So like in the most like maybe not most modern horrors, that's a little bit of a stretch, but in a lot of modern horror games, you can sort of like peek through the door a little bit or like push it slightly, and the door becomes an extra mechanic as opposed to just being part of the level, right? We're playing into the elements inside of this a little bit. This is from Resident Evil 7. Haven't you guys played that?
Yeah. And even in Invisible Ink, a game that I love, peeking through doors is a very specific like action to the point where it has its own system, like vision systems and points, like time points associated with it.
Yeah, and like go ahead. Yeah, Eric.
I was going to say one of my favorite door interactions in video games is probably from the Splinter Cell series before they got very actiony. But you had a camera, and basically Sam Fisher would lay, I guess, down on the ground with his butt in the air at the bottom of the door
As he
and
does.
sneak a little camera underneath the door, and you kind of had to observe the entire room from an ant's eye view below the door. And I always thought that was kind of a neat perspective to look at a space that you were supposed to conquer in a second, but to get your bearings and figure things out. And you could only do it through doors, which I thought was kind of neat.
That's interesting. Like in a lot of the ways where doors become a mechanic, the door becomes your friend, right? Like it's another tool in your toolbox as opposed to like usually a mechanic that's against you. Like when it's like interesting, right? Like that, or like even in this case right here, like peeking through the door, you have this ability to take a little peek and close it right away, right? Or like in those what's the series I'm thinking of by China Room developer? What are those games called? Those horror games? Anyways, someone's going to throw it out in the chat for me. But it becomes like part of this super cool extra mechanic, right? Like the door becomes your friend. Which is pretty cool. But sometimes the doors are not your friend, and they become like a different kind of mechanic, right? So this is probably my favorite door in video games, I would say. I try not to lean on PT too much, but goddamn, it's PT. And this for me was like now, okay, you see the door, and there's nothing else you could do but go through that door, right? We're setting up that door as the mechanic is the loop, but there's a tension now to it. The door is no longer your friend, right? There's nothing safe on the other end of that door. Even turning around is horror, but going through that door is like could be anything else, right?
Yeah,
it's extra horror, which is pretty cool. It's like it hides things in a way, but like sometimes doors hide fun surprises. This little guy here. Another one of my favorite doors in video games. If you're gonna have an action game and you don't let me kick open your door, why are you making an action game? And then it leads to fun moments like this. And then this is another moment where you're like, oh, cool, this door is my friend. Again, it's not built in the mechanics that this door can be my friend. I can't just like peek through it. But in this one happenstance, it happened to like nail this guy, and now this door is my friend again.
And someone mentioned in the chat, Pathologic, opening doors in Pathologic has a sense of dread because there might be things, there's going to be some grim stuff behind it, but also doors in Pathologic can be weirdly relieving in the exact opposite way if people are trying to chase you down or attack you, and you can run through a door and probably be safer, but maybe not.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's always this tension when you enter a game and you encounter the first door. That door tells you a lot about that video game, right? Like even in like Resident Evil, the very first door that you open, it's that slow, methodical animation. It's creepy as hell. It sets up the tone for the entire game. You come into an action game like this and you go to open the door and it's like, hey, why don't you try pressing A again? And you just pound the door open with your foot. That sets the tone for the entire game, right? Like the very first door that you come through. Even like Super Metroid, the very first door that you get to, and it's like you have to shoot it to open it. It opens in this cool, like techno-organic way, and it sets the tone and the atmosphere for the entire game. Exactly, right? Like they're so like subtly important, and do so many different things for us that it's kind of fascinating. Another one of my favorite doors. Speaking of doors that offer like maybe a safe place on the other side, Left 4 Dead. However, sometimes the game doesn't agree with you, and even the safe places aren't as safe as they seem to be. But this is like another one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, we're chasing this door, right? This door is our end result. We're gonna get there. We're gonna lock ourselves in. The door is our friend. Very cool. I'm gonna talk real quick because I only have a couple more here. The scariest door ever in video games. Does anybody have any thoughts on what they might consider to be the scariest door ever in video games for them?
Actually, in a similar vein to PT, I have one. An indie game, a adventure horror game I played years ago. I can't remember which one it was, but there was a room that you walk through multiple different times, and it had 4 doors out of it. And at one point you walk into that room, which you've walked through a million times. It's a mundane ass room, and the entire room is just filled with impassable like garbage, just like horrible garbage and vaguely unpleasant looking shit piled up to the ceiling, except for a narrow pathway that leads to another door. And you just walk into that room, which looked perfectly normal every time before that, and then you look at the door and you go, I don't think, like, this room is bad now, but I don't think whatever's on the other side of that door is going to be better.
Oh god. Yeah, and like it's terrifying, right? Like, what is on the other side of that door? What could it be? What is this game bringing me to? And that's kind of similar to my scariest door ever. So who's, show of hands, anybody played Last of Us? Anybody heard of this game called Last of Us? The scariest doors I've ever experienced in a video game have come from Last of Us 2, and it has absolutely nothing to do with gameplay. Absolutely nothing to do with what is on the other side of that door. I found Last of Us 2, like, let me just say, I really enjoyed the video game. The most frustrating moment of this game was anytime I encountered a door, because I had no idea if on the other side of this door, the game was going to suddenly spawn me into a cutscene or move me into another part of the level, and then I can't go back, and I've missed my opportunity to get stuff, and I'm a bit of an explorer completionist, so that really bugs me. So every time I got to a door, I would just stop in my tracks and basically turn around and make sure I finished absolutely everything else that was not a door, and then I would choose one of the 3 doors that I hadn't gone through and hope that it wouldn't bring me into the next part of the level that I can't go back to anymore. So frustrating. It was like literally for me the scariest door in video games, because what was behind it wasn't something that was going to affect the character, but it was going to affect my actual play. Doors, man. You got to be careful. I was shitting on doors a little bit. I tried to make a door once. It didn't go so well. So this is just me owning up to doors and door makers everywhere. Shout outs to everyone who's ever tried to put a door in a video game. Sometimes it's a little harder than it looks. Sometimes you don't quite know how to do math properly. And sometimes it all works out in the end. And that's really all that matters here. So that's basically it for my presentation. Thanks everybody for listening to me talk about doors for a little bit. Thanks to Jonah and the rest of the rectangles here. I don't know. Is there any questions or final thoughts from the crew here talking about doors?
Doors are one of my favorite things in games. To think about, sort of like a forgotten little background thing that people don't necessarily think about, for all the reasons that we mentioned, but also just because, especially this is a thing that stuck with me as an imaginative child, is that a door in a game doesn't have to go where a door has to go. Like, games are beginning to end weird liminal spaces. They don't have to be linear. They don't have to make sense. So when you open a door in a video game and step through it, it does not have to go where it should. And as a child, I would open the door very briefly and close the door and think, the other side of that door may not be where it just was when I closed it. And I'd open it and it was my hallway or whatever. But that stuck with me forever. And so anytime I play something with non-Euclidean geometry or strange doors or strange places or strange architecture, it reminds me of that. Those are my favorite kind of doors.
I love it. I'm going to be thinking about doors for a bit. We're going to move along here. Get ready for the next presenter. I think we've been waxing on about planks of wood for a while now. Jonah, thanks for lending your brain here. Moving on. Let's go.
Doritos in the chat.
Oh, Kezia.
Yeah, you're gonna freak me out.
I didn't come up with a pun. Colton did. So as you can see in the chat, but I just wanted to let everyone know of that beautiful pun.
Love it. All right, cool. We'll be back in just a few minutes here with our next presenter. Bye.
Cheers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our next presenter of the night, Mr. Oliver Fay. What's going on, buddy?
Hey. All right. So I guess to start off with, I'll be showing a quick update that I added to my rhythm game. So recently, Oculus browser added support for the WebXR Hands API, and what I did was I found like some Three.js implementation of this and like just copied it over and adapted it to work with my game. So yeah, fingers are showing up hopefully, and I guess I'll just play a quick song like it doesn't really work well for fast songs because there's a bit of a lag, but like for maybe some slower one, I'll try to get okay, this one's pretty slow. Yeah, for slow songs it's doable because you can kind of account for the lag. But yeah, that's about it for that. Let's get out of this. Okay. To the next topic. Were there any questions? I don't think any other browser has implemented the WebXR API yet. So yeah, for now, like the only device that is supported is the Oculus Quest, and I think you have to enable some Chrome flag, and then with that, you basically just open up the browser, go to the game, and then enter VR. And then once you put your controllers away, it should be able to track your hands.
Cool. There was a question in the chat here too. Hangman asking, was the game inspired at all by Chunatham? Which is something.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. What's that game? I haven't heard of that before.
So I think I actually showed a video of it like the first time I presented.
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, so basically in Japan, there's this arcade game called Chunatham. And I kind of wanted to play something like it, and I didn't really have any hardware or any like arcades nearby that have it. So basically, like I figured like VR had the the tracking that could enable something like this, and then I kind of just like went from there.
Cool.
But yeah, this is Tunism for people who weren't familiar with it.
And then you're basically replicating that finger logic with sorry, what's the hardware you're using to capture your fingers there?
The Oculus Quest has
it's Quest.
built-in hand tracking.
Cool.
So basically, as a developer, I'm kind of like shielded away from all that logic. All I need to know is like there's an API that I can use to get the hand like coordinate information. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Very cool.
And your game is played with like virtual mallets, right?
Yeah. So normally you would use like the controllers, and those are like mapped to like virtual mallets.
How close do you have to get to like the actual duration of those like long bars and stuff like that? Is there like an adjustable amount of like wiggle room on those or something?
Like for scoring points.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like hang on, let me open it up in browser. Yeah, so the way I did the timing, I just like arbitrarily picked like certain like milliseconds for thresholds, and then depending on like where you're like how close you are to those thresholds, basically you get awarded a certain number of points. So I guess if I just pick something like this, this doesn't have like the long notes, but basically like right there, that was like a yellow note. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So for yellow, I think the threshold was something like 60 milliseconds or maybe 100 milliseconds, and then like to get like a excellent or a green note like flash, you need to get under like 45 milliseconds, something like that. And then for the long notes, it's like a time on the hit, and then time on the release. So yeah.
Cool.
This one had the long note. Yeah, so if I hit there and then release there. So I kind of messed up the hit, but the release was accurate. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's doing it on both sides.
Yep.
Very cool. So you're also going to do a little presentation on Babylon JS here?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the company I worked for had this internal hackathon that was like one day or something. So I figured it would be a nice time to try out Babylon JS and maybe figure out how to do like a multiplayer game with it. So I didn't really get the game part done with my team, but we managed to get like a simple like lobby and like a multiplayer chat room in the lobby. So here's the main page. You can like create rooms and join rooms. So I think the server takes a while to get back, but eventually it'll update, I think. There we go.
Cool.
So after you join a room, it should ask for like mic permissions. And then you're able to like chat with anyone in the room. So like if there's people online, feel free to jump in. So controls are like mouse to look around and then arrow keys to move. Oh, I guess there's a bug for like in Chrome, the bounding boxes don't seem to work very well, but yeah.
Who needs them?
It's a one-day hackathon project, so yeah. And then if I open a new tab, we can see like where is it? Yeah, I don't know, but there should be some network thing, unless this is a Chrome bug.
Chrome.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll try Firefox, but
That's cool. So you could basically just whip up like a 3D room real quickly that you could have like a conversation in, kind of thing.
yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, it worked on Firefox. I guess I'll just quickly give the little like talk about kind of like reasons for why you might want to use Babylon.js, and in this case, the library is called EasyRTC. Yeah, and maybe go into implementation details if we have time.
Cool.
So, yeah, so I guess why Babylon.js? So first of all, it's a free and open source engine. Other engines that you might hear of for like JavaScript include like Amazon Sumerian, which is like closed source and paid, and PlayCanvas, which has like an open source engine, but its editor is closed source, and it's also behind like a freemium model. Another big like plus for Babylon.js is that it has a dedicated team at Microsoft maintaining it. So like right now, the game that I'm making, like the Cadenza, the rhythm game, it uses Three.js, which yeah, so 3.js is maintained by the community, and it like one issue I've run into is like they introduce like breaking changes between versions, so you have to like spend time like maintaining your application like every time you want to like upgrade a version. Also, this issue that I saw for Three.js, basically, let's see if we can, yeah. So basically with Three.js, post-processing doesn't work with WebXR like at all. And it's been broken for like since 2018, I think. So almost 2 years now. And basically, yeah. And there's still like PRs open. This was the first PR open that tried to fix the issue, and then they later like closed it and opened a second PR. But yeah, it's never been fixed, and yeah, so that's one of the reasons why like Babylon.js seemed pretty appealing, is because they have like a dedicated team that can make these kind of decisions and kind of just like not leave major bugs in their framework forever. Yeah, so kind of adding on to that, in addition, Babylon.js has like constant updates, and they make pretty good videos actually that kind of highlight what updates they make. So I'll just show like their 4.0 update. So these are kind of like production applications as well that they highlight in some of these shots.
So basically, you could do anything.
All right.
Yeah, it looks super cool.
Yeah.
TypeScript.
Yeah, so the other reason is TypeScript support. So working on like Cadenza, like the code base is starting to get like pretty like huge, and that's one thing that I'm pretty sure like TypeScript would help a lot with. So for those not familiar, TypeScript introduces like it's like a superset of JavaScript, and like I don't know much about it other than like it introduces typing, and there's also a lot of tooling built into VS Code to make like coding with TypeScript super sleek. Yeah, so introducing typing and yeah, and those extra tools would help to kind of like catch bugs that like might otherwise be like hidden. Yeah, and in general, it just it should be a lot better for building like an application that you'll be maintaining for a long time. So fourth point is Babylon.js is a full-blown game engine. So this is different from what Three.js provides. One of the issues I ran into while building Cadenza is that when I tried to build like the menu, I had to pretty much like figure out the exact geometry that I wanted for like the shapes in the menus, and I also had to like code in like all the interactions with the UI elements because Three.js doesn't come with a UI element library. Yeah, so other things that Three.js is missing is like a physics system. You need to basically like for anything other than graphics, you need to find some third-party library to integrate with Three.js, and these third-party libraries aren't always like well maintained. Like I know there is a UI elements library, but it was started like a couple months ago by one dude. And this was after I had already implemented like the menu. So yeah, it's nice to have those things like come with Babylon JS by default. And then last point is Babylon JS has a pretty active community. I think in like one of their highlight videos or something, they mentioned like every post to the forum gets an answer within 12 hours or something. So this isn't the case with Amazon, Sumerian, and Play Canvas, for example. So as a developer, if you have any like questions that you can't like find through the docs, Babylon JS docs are also pretty cool, by the way. Yeah, so if you can't find the answer that you're looking for, like having easy access to like a community that can like respond to you quickly is pretty important. So yeah, that's pretty much why I was like interested in Babylon JS. Any questions before we move on?
I think you're good so far.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Super awesome.
So the second library I'm using is called EasyRTC. Basically, what it is, it's like it's a library that handles low-level WebRTC code to facilitate like different like communications that you might want to do. And I picked it because like coming from the A-Frame and Three.js scene, there's this one library called Networked A-Frame that made it like super convenient to make multi-user applications that are WebXR enabled with like A-Frame and Three.js. And then this library at the time had used EasyRTC for its communications. So seeing that like there wasn't any equivalent for like networking in Babylon JS, I figured it would be easiest to just like leverage what like I already knew from Networked A-Frame. Yeah, so going into what EasyRTC helps with, basically it takes care of tasks surrounding like creating rooms for multiple users to join, and then making video calls, audio calls, and like chatting between those users using WebRTC. And something that I found while doing this project, EasyRTC actually got discontinued, and now like if you want to use it, you should be using the Open EasyRTC. I think what happened was like if you go to the README for this repo, you'll see like CryoLogic or something, the company that maintained EasyRTC tried to charge money for like the maintainer who was like pushing all these commits to update EasyRTC. And then yeah, I don't know what the details are for that, but yeah, so if you ever decide to use it, you should be using Open EasyRTC, not the regular EasyRTC. So yeah, that's about it. And I guess if we had time, I was planning to just quickly show about how you would go about, or at least how we went about putting these things together to create that networked scene.
Yeah, I think we're unfortunately running a little late on time, but maybe if you want, we could toss like that repo link into the chat so people can dive into it. Yeah. Let me throw your Twitter channel up on the screen as well too, so everyone can see that. There it is.
Yeah. So yeah, the repo is there for if you want to see how it all got put together. And yeah, that's about it then.
Cool.
Very cool
Awesome.
stuff, Oliver.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oliver.
Maybe real quick, there was a question in the chat from Laser Walker that was, are you using, and this is probably related to the EasyRTC stuff, are you using a full mesh topology for the WebRTC connections, e.g. each person connects directly to each other person, or something more heavily server-based?
Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of like shielded away from the lower level logic, but the way that the networking was done is like every time a user joins a room, they make a call to every other user.
I see.
If that answers
Okay,
the
cool.
question.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome
Okay.
stuff, Oliver. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be
Thanks.
back with our next presenter. We got 2 more games coming at you. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to switch over to this view real quick while I fix the audio behind the scenes, but continue on. Everything should be good now.
Okay, check 1, check 2. Hello, how's it going? I'm going to say, it says it's good. Okay,
it's
cool.
good.
It's such a good intro. It's a shame. It's a shame you all missed it. You should have been in the Dirty Rectangles chat.
My favorite part was the rap. I like the rap that you did.
The rap was really cool when I had my guest star come in. That was cool. Hi everyone, I'm Colton. I'm here to talk about Devil Express again. Devil Express is a game I originally showed off at Dirty Rectangles back in the day, many months ago. And now I'm here to talk about it after it finished, because it came out and some things happened, and I think they're worth talking about in a post-mortem like fashion. So I'm going to start that. Hi, I'm Colton. There's a picture of me. You may know me from this Weezer Kiki's Delivery Service AMV. It has 6,000 views and is my primary source of income. I released a game called Devil Express in March with my dear friends at Bad Pet. It was our first biggish game, so defining biggish, and it took more than an hour to complete, not more than an hour to make. Actually, much more than an hour to make. It did about as well as a free game can do, and that's kind of why I want to talk about it. We released at the end of March, and we've already made it into the top 50 highest rated games on itch.io. We've generated a lot of fan art. We're building a small community. It did way better than we expected and ever imagined it could. And it wasn't just a happy accident. There are a few reasons why, and I kind of want to break those down, as well as how we went about designing our little game. So this talk is mostly for people who don't need to sell games to make money. Devil Express is a free game. I cannot help you make a game that you have to sell. I don't know that stuff. It's good if you want to start building audience, because this game kind of did that. If you want to make narrative-focused games, there are a lot of lessons learned on how to make those work a little better. And if you want to know how itch.io works, because having been shot through the ringer of itch.io, I've noticed a few patterns that I think are worth acknowledging. And this talk is also for people who are cool. So if you don't fit any of the previous criteria, you probably fit that one. Cool. So Devil Express is a game where you walk and talk. You play as Worf. Worf is a gig worker delivery guy working for the Devil Express, a spooky new delivery app. And you get sent to this cursed apartment building, and you connect its residents through the power of postage and just listening to their problems and doing something about it. It's a pretty simple game. You walk, you talk. Eventually, people throw a party for you. I made Devil Express with Shut-Eye/G, my partner. She did the art, and we made music with our dear, beloved best friend, Seven Wave. I can hear G shouting in the back because I had said her name. We are Bad Pet. That is the name of our studio, collective, whatever. We make free games. We're not a studio. You may know us from our hits such as Possum Dress Up, which I think we showed at Bit Bazaar back in the day. Koala and Friends Dress Up, the much long-awaited sequel, multiple different dress-upable characters. And we've also made zines and comics. If you've been around the Toronto zine stuff, you might have seen us try to sell you stuff, like the Brothers Smash and Plymouth, which are really great comics. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to do a big gnarly burp. We're currently making a game called Break. Break is a how you say time stressed out management game where you are spending a week back home on vacation and you need to manage your commitments with your friends and your family, and it's going to be very stressful. We're hoping to finish that around November. Who can say? We're also making Break with our dear friend Tom Fro. Thomas Fro is one of the greatest people on earth, and I thought he deserved his own special panel. So here's the Tom panel. Look out for this face. You're going to be seeing him more these days. Okay, let's talk about Devil Express. Just have a sip of my beer really quick. Okay, so how Devil Express was made, the Genesis, or Dex Genesis. So every Valentine's Day, a romantic holiday, me and my partner G we've been doing game jams. We used to go see the new 50 Shades movies, but they stopped making those, so now we make games instead. That's how we made Possum Dress Up and Koala Dress Up, and this past Valentine's Day, G really wanted to make a game about making Valentine's letters for people. I thought that was stupid and for babies. I said, G, that's stupid and for babies. She's like, shut the fuck up, Colton. I was like, no, I won't shut up. It's for babies. And then she kept pitching me ideas until eventually we settled on one. She was like, "What if you delivered letters to werewolves, or you were a werewolf?" I was like, "That's cool as hell. Let's make that." Mostly, I like that idea because it was a little bit removed from our dress up kind of game. Like a letter making game would be pretty similar to that. And also, I thought like delivery is like one of the simplest game verbs you can do. You deliver. You go and you interact. You walk. And I was like, I haven't made a character move left or right before. We could probably do this in a day. Yeah, I thought this project would be super, super easy. I thought I hit that easy button. It was not easy. It did not take a day. We took longer than a day to make this game. So, how do we design this game? All of the game design was done in this little document here. I call it the spreadsheet. I reference a lot. Basically, this is where we came up with all the characters we wanted to include. This is where we came up with like our archetypes. We were like, I want to talk about startup shit. Let's make a startup devil. Or our friend Rude Cat. Let's do a thing with him. And then we just kind of like literally randomly came up with like items that people would need, and then items that people would give. And then from there, characters just kind of started forming. Like, what kind of slime would need Tupperware and give a Samsung charger? So it actually really, really helped as like little prompts when we were writing the game, because we had, I don't know, the bones of how all these characters should be and what they need. You know, we didn't really deviate from this. In one way, like that kind of limited us because we stuck to this document pretty hard. But on the other hand, we shipped a game, so I can't complain too much. This little document, little slide at the end here. Monster plus needs equals game. So if you can do that for your game, you can probably do. Or actual practical advice, if you can come up with like some game system stuff you actually need before you start writing it and use that to like wrap your writing around, it's just going to make everything more cohesive. So do that. This video is tall, so we chose an interesting aspect ratio for the game. It's vertical, and this game is for the PC computer. We would like to port it to phones, but I don't know how to do that. Yeah, so we chose this aspect ratio because the main thing you do in this game is you talk to people at doors, and that's a very vertical experience. And we found when we made it widescreen, there was just too much to look at. So we just cut a bunch of garbage off the screen. So all you have to focus on is you and that interaction. I notice in a lot of 2D games, there's kind of like one shot you use, like one camera shot, and that's a very long shot, which is like the least possible emotional camera angle you could ever possibly use. So I want to do something closer to like a medium long shot or like even a medium close up. So that was the intention there. Also, we're not making dead cells, so you don't really need to see super far ahead of where you're going. Like you're going through like 4 floors of an apartment building that pretty much have the exact same layout. Wasn't too hard. And I think it was successful. It did make taking screenshots of the game really hard and marketing stuff, because like vertical screenshots post like garbage pretty much everywhere. Unless you're on a phone. Someone did a YouTube gameplay video of our phone, and they did it in vertical mode. And watching it on my phone, it just fits perfectly. It's incredible. But mostly, if you go to our itch.io page, our screenshots look bad. So this is the loop of the game. You walk, you talk, you get quests, and you give the items you get from quests. And then you continue walking and talking. It's a very simple loop. I would call this game not much of a game based on how simple this is. But there is a bit of a gamey element. I think even a small gamey element helps make your talky narrative game a little bit more palatable towards people who might not necessarily want to play a Twine game, you know? So I think having just even some small like hint of a loop will help out a lot. Like we were kind of criticized online for it not being much of a game, but people were like, it got people in enough so the story could hook them that eventually they didn't care. That was fine, because I don't want them to care. I want them to read the talky words and look at the art and listen to the music. How we made the art. So G/Shut-Eye made all the art. You can see on the left, these are the original designs. We did want to make this game in one night. So we really scoped to do that. Except we made like 18 characters that needed full arcs. We did not scope well. But G came up with all the characters in one night. Those are the original drawings, and then she chose a very simple pixel style that she could also finish in one night, so we could get all these characters and small animations done. She tried using a very simple palette for the game, as you should do for pixel art games. It makes it look a lot better. I think the game came out really nice. We were super inspired by A Night at Manster Mansion by Onion Boy. If you haven't played it, you should super check it out. Onion is just an incredible Bitsy game creator, and I think deserves a lot more credit than they get. Night at Manster Mansion is like a gay monster, kissy, talky game. So a lot of inspiration came from that. We just loved like the concept of like the big house and like how much Onion did with like the simplicity of Bitsy. That was definitely a super inspiration overall. Worf, he's the main character. His design was done by, it was based off this playlist coverage he did for a playlist we made for us for Halloween called Ghost Prom. The little werewolf guy over there. It's kind of what Worf was based on. Desmond is based on Doreen Electra. I don't think I need to explain that at all. And we think it's very funny. One thing we didn't predict coming out of this game is that people, well, we did, because we made them kind of gay together, but we didn't expect like people to actually stand our characters, but like people are standing like little pixel boys, and we think that's very funny. That you can glean so much from just these simple, basic ass representations. They're cuties though. Cool. So how we made the music? I didn't make the music. Our dear friend composer Seven Wave made the music. Seven Wave has made the music for every game I've worked on, and will hopefully continue to forever. But Seven Wave sent me some notes on how the music was made earlier today. They were playing the bass without a pick for the first time. I think that's very impressive and should be lauded. He recorded the guitar parts and then doubled the speed. So, you know, if you were listening to the guitar and thought it was fast but slow, that's probably why. And he played the guitar parts he liked, then recorded the bass. It shows the harmony of everything last. I think it's interesting to choose the harmony last. I would choose the harmony first, but I'm not making the soundtrack. Seven Wave is. The music is really great. It's up on my YouTube if you want to listen to it. I think it's YouTube/Mr. Boyfriend. We have all the tracks there. They're amazing, fun. Does great custom music, and he's working on the music for Break. So look forward to that. So, how made the writing? I'm gonna see. Do I have desktop audio? We're gonna find out. The plot of the game can basically be summed up by this Angel Mommy TikTok video.
Millions of years, this tree right here.
I don't know if it's showing. Oh, it's showing.
This tree doesn't even really look haunted.
Well, legend has it, multiple people has touched this tree, and they disappeared.
This tree doesn't look haunted at all. Whoa, what was that? What the heck was that?
See? I told you about this tree.
So that's Devil Express in a nutshell. Basically, you're dealing with Worf is dealing with a cursed house that makes people disappear when they get too close to it. You know, it's a way to protect the residents of the apartment from people by making them disappear. That's so funny. So we didn't have a plot for like 90% of production, and that's something I want to talk about. Is you don't need to start game development or even a narrative game with a plot. Sometimes I would recommend against it. The way we started at this game is we just came up with these characters, came up with their needs, put them in rooms, made stuff happen when you pressed on the doors, and wrote funny lines for them as goofs. And then about halfway through we were like, this would be stronger with a plot. How can we add a plot to this? So there's a term for writing in this. It's called discovery writing, where instead of doing a big outline first, you just kind of jump into it and then edit later, which means the back half. So planning writing means like you're way busier at the front half of production, but the back half is way easier because every possible question you can have for your characters is planned out already. But for discovery writing, your start is way smaller. You can just jump right into it and start writing, but your back half of edits is going to be a lot heavier because you probably wrote a lot of stupid stuff while you're still figuring it out. They're both totally valid methods. And that was the method we chose for writing Devil Express. A big factor in writing the game is just we based most of the characters off of people we knew in real life because that was easy. Worf is based off of our roommate and friend Ulrich, who is a delivery guy for used to be Foodora, rest in peace. Hellburger manager based off my dad. You can see the man with the mustache there. Very big capitalist. Over here we have Mermaid based off our friend Wallace. They both read fan fiction in the tub, and I think that's very sweet. And Slime is based off of me because he deals with panic disorder issues like me. The biggest success I think the writing of Devil Express had is that people liked Worf, and Worf was a good character. And I was thinking about how I would explain writing Worf or how I would explain writing a good protagonist. And I think the big thing that matters is how easy are they to spend time with, right? Like, I think stressful protagonists either don't do what you want them to do, you have differing goals, or they're annoying. And I tried with Worf. So Worf is a bespoke character. So in the game, there's no dialogue choices. Worf just exists in this world, and you just imbibe his story. So in writing that character, I really was trying to be conscious of like how are Worf's goals going to be in line with the player. And the way I did that was I just made delivering stuff really, 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 really hype. Because that's all you're doing in the game. So I tried to make Worf like, he loves his job. He hates the fact that he has to do this job, but he loves, he's just a dedicated delivery guy. And I think people can get behind that. And he also shows up for friends, right? Like over the course of the game, you really get to know him. You get to know what makes him sad, what makes him stressed, and what he's able to do for other people. So just when you're thinking of what to do for your main character, at the very least, whatever your plot is, just make them easy to spend time with. And plot can happen later. As I mentioned earlier with Devil Express, we got halfway through the game, most of the monsters were written, and we were like, oh, we have no plot. So we came out with Desmond, who was a gargoyle and the representation of the building, essentially, who also became like a romantic interest. This happened pretty late in the game. I was like, gee, we should add another character to this game that kind of ties everything together. And she was like, I want another character. And I was like, let's do it. And she was like, okay. And then we did it. And he's now both of our favorite character. Don't be stressed if you like go into a project and you don't know how everything's going to happen right away. You can figure that out. Again, this is not advice for making a game you have to make money on, right? Like if you're in a structured, ordered company, like these things should be figured out soon because like big mistakes cost money. If you're making a game for free, like I didn't lose $1 off of not starting with a plot. At least I don't think so. So don't stress out about that. You'll find it. This is a good one. Don't make a make boyfriends button. So this is like a pet peeve in like games with the relationships. I don't like that in games where you can have relationship options, the player has pretty much 100% agency on like whether or not they can acquire this person as a romantic interest. I don't think relationships should work like that. So it was definitely a conscious choice in Devil Express to like not have a prompt at the end of the game where you're sitting with Desmond on the roof of the building to be like, who's Desmond? Because like they just fucking met and had a stressful day. This guy has changed his personality completely. You want to kiss him? You freak! What are you doing? I don't make games for freaks. So I opted not to have a make boyfriends button. We are working on a sequel to Devil Express where a relationship building is the focus, but I don't know. I think if you're making a game with relationships in it, please like actively consider like the process of relationship, because I think it comes off really bad. Don't give players agency. That's my point. How'd it go? So we made the game, we did all that stuff I talked about, and then stuff happened. What happened then? Okay, so I'm gonna talk about like our method into our quote unquote marketing strategy. So we made a thumbnail with a face. G did a really great illustration of Worf, which was one of the original illustrations. This has been talked about before, but putting like a character's face on the thumbnail makes it more likely to click. Same with like Instagram pictures and stuff. Just put a big goofy face on there. It's great. That was a smart thing we did, I think. And we made a trailer. I see a lot of like small free games come out without trailers, and I understand why. But I think you should always have a trailer. It just makes your game more playable, right? Like my method into like promoting this game was to just like limit as many barriers to entry as possible for players. That's why we made like a less good version of the game for browser, right? So it's playable in browser. A lot of our nice audio effects you can't really make out in the browser version, but that's okay because people play the game, which is what I care about. I mean, I do care about those audio effects, but that's fine. If they really want them, they'll find them. And make a trailer. That's what we did. Ooh. We also showed the game at Dirty Rectangles. That's me showing the game at Dirty Rectangles, which is really great. It felt very real for me as a developer to like get the game in front of people and have people play it, which was very motivating and helped me set a release date for it, which I had to commit to because I said it out loud. So if you can show your game off in any possible way, like at Dirty Rectangles Online or wherever, I highly recommend it. I mean, we didn't get like 1 billion followers at Dirty Rectangles. I got like 5 followers though. It was cool, but it's more for you. You know, not everything you do for your game should be for an audience. A lot of the work you do should be for you. And then we had our initial tweet, which was good. I have some friends with higher follower counts than I do, and they retweeted it, and that definitely like helped our initial bump. But honestly, not a lot of traffic came from Twitter. I think we probably have like 150 views overall from Twitter, which in the scheme of how Devil Express did is not particularly much. But it was enough to give us a decent algorithm boost at the start, which was important. So we're going to talk about itch.io. I'm going to take a sip of beer for this. itch.io is weird. I don't understand it, and it kind of scares me. But it works really well. They work for us. So the way I think itch.io works is, so when you release your game, you release a baby game into the world, you go into most recent over there. If that game gets seen more than whatever low average of times that most normal itch.io games get seen, it goes into new and popular. And once it's in new and popular, that's when things can start happening on the itch front. Like, unless you have some sort of method to get your game seen through other online traffic, like, I don't know, my friend Aaron made a Simpsons game. He remade Lee Carvalho's putting challenge, and then he tweeted one of the producers at it, and the producer retweeted it. And like all of his traffic comes from outside of that because it just got picked up from outside media. Most games that doesn't happen to. Most games are going to be working in this weird itch.io cycle. So getting an initial boost from most recent into new popular, I think, is very important. We'll get to that later. Because once we were in new and popular, we were found by like some bigger channels. Like there was one, I'll get to that later, but new and popular is where you are found. You want to get there, try to get as much of an initial boost, even if it's just people clicking and liking and whatever, looking at your game, that'll definitely help you. So again, Devil Express is free. It's not a money game. So our criteria for success is different, I think. Or at least it's better to approach it in a different mindset than you would for a paid game. I think there are 2 key categories. There's the intangible and the tangible. The intangible is the cool stuff that makes your heart go, ugh, and makes you feel good about making games. Like, that's how many views it gets. That's people making fan art and plushies and doing cosplay. Like, cool shit that you thought would never happen. That has immense value on you and yourself as a creator. It's a very good confidence booster. And it's good. Acknowledge it. But the tangible things you can get are like things like ratings, plays, comments, donations, networking, media coverage, all that kind of stuff. That's stuff that'll give you leverage for when you put out your next game, you know, and eventually maybe if you do put out a paid for money game, it'll do better because you have these things. I mean, they're all useful. Okay, I want to talk about itch.io ratings. If you play games on itch.io, you need to rate those. You need to rate those so bad. That's how games get into the ecosystem of being able to be seen forever on itch.io, you know? The algorithm is harsh and cold on itch.io for games that don't have like a bunch of 5 stars. People on itch.io are very nice. I've talked to other people about this, where a lot of their games will get like lambasted on Steam. People on itch.io mostly give 5 stars if they're going to rate. There's not a lot of 4 stars. But also know if you do give a 1-star rating, that's going to impact that game for its entire forever, you know? Because it's a very harsh algorithm. Please rate games. Okay, criteria. So we released the game. A couple days later, we see this video come up. This is by Alpha Beta Gamer. He made a video, just a gameplay video of Devil Express on YouTube, which is cool. It got a bunch of views. It got like 10,000 views in the first day. Very cool for us, but this did not give us much traffic at all. But again, we're talking free game value. Let's focus on things that are cool, because like seeing all these comments of like people posting epic memes was very funny, and just made us feel good as developers. We got a bunch of fan art. We got some cosplay from Chenia, who helped localize the game into Spanish. I don't know. This stuff just makes your heart warm, right? Like, this is what you're doing it for if you're not doing it for money. Yeah, this is incredible stuff. Here are our stats if people want to see that. So these are the stats from when we released the game at the end of March to now. Overall, we've had, what's important, we've got $245 in donations. I think 30 of that was from my family. We've had 17.5k views, 1,300 downloads, 8,600 plays, 208 ratings. Made it 46th highest rated game on itch.io. And that happens. Okay, we'll get to why that happened. But the game did pretty well, I think. I want to point to a few little data points on here that are kind of funny. So if you notice in June on the graphs there, we have a big spike. And this is one of the weird, mysterious itch.io things that happens that scare me. For somehow we got onto popular. So itch.io has the mysterious popular section, where games that are algorithmically chosen as popular get surfaced like on the front page relatively often. And I think in June we got on there for a little bit for some reason. I don't know. We didn't do anything. And then more people got to see the game, which is nice. You can't really predict that. It was just a cool little bump that happened. itch.io is scary. Yeah, we got a lot of ratings. I think the big thing that we got was followers on our Bad Pet account. So we got 260 itch followers that are now going to get emails when we put out our next game, which will hopefully get it a big boost, which will get it to new and popular. And then, you know, once it's there, we can kind of cycle up. Okay. But this is Devil Express's real secret. This is why we're actually doing well and why you should pay attention to certain things on itch.io. We use the furry tag for the game. When we were making our tags for the game, we were like, what are the tags we need? Adventure, comedy, true. We're like, furry, I guess so. You play an anthropomorphic werewolf. That's a furry thing. We also think we have a story that is like very like heartwarming and beautiful, and we think this audience might appreciate it. So we added that tag. Like, over half of our traffic constantly is coming from the furry tag. It is probably the most used, most viewed, least used tag on itch.io. So if you're making furry games out there, make sure you're using the itch.io tag. Or if you're just making a game with anthropomorphic animals that, you know, you think an audience would approve of, do it. Don't let this community be aware of your game, because they will come and support you. And I don't know, it just shows. Like, I genuinely think if we didn't use this tag, we would not have gotten as many high ratings as we did. But yeah, I don't know. Like, look for a niche audience and tags when you can. It super matters. What else happened? So, finishing up a little bit, we had some students from a school in Spain reach out to us who were interested in localizing Devil Express into Spanish. We were like, oh, that's cool. I would love for that to happen. So they localized it into Spanish, which is really awesome. So I think, yeah, that was a really cool thing that happened. They did it for free because they liked it. And I know there are a lot of people out there that will do something similar. There are a lot of localization programs all across the world. I've received a couple other messages kind of similar, but we liked this group the best. So we went out with them and they did an amazing job, which is awesome. Our Spanish version only got 44 plays, but we did, translation was finished, I think, about 3, maybe 4 months after release. So if we could do it again, we would get it localized ahead of time, if that was possible, but it wasn't But it's nice to have more people be able to play the game. So, quick ending. Why the game did good, in my opinion. Number one, it's fandom friendly. People ship and stand characters, right? Like, it's a character-focused game that has a queer relationship at its focus at the end of it. And there's just a lot of character, and I think a lot of huge popular media, character is the focus. And I think if you're making a narrative game, please, you should try to bring your characters to light as much as possible and make them do the work. Browser version is very easy to play Devil Express. It's very, very easy. You can go and you can click on it and you can go through it. And there are a lot of kids out there who just want games to play. I think a lot of our audience is definitely under 18. There are still kids out there that will treat itch.io like Newgrounds, right? Like, one of our biggest tags is top free browser games. So that audience is there. So if you can, unless you're making 3D Super Space Poker, try to get a browser version, even if you have to make some compromises. And also just a very pleasant world to be around. A lot of the comments are people just saying they enjoyed being in the world, just the combination of art, music, and interaction, right? That's what makes video games special. And a lot of the times it's enough to just have that. But you should have other stuff too. But you should also have that. Okay, couple more slides. Early boost helps algorithm. Again, on your first few days of release, they'll be your biggest days. They were for us. But make sure you get as many ratings and comments as possible, because that's how you get pulled from new and popular into big YouTube channels. And if people are writing articles, they'll comb there too. Very, very important. For most people, most of your traffic will come from itch.io, and I think itch.io does a very good job of cycling through people's content and doing the recommendations. It's unpredictable, but that's where a lot of it will come through, right? Use tags, because if your game picks up and you start getting higher ratings, you enter top tiers of tags, right? So a lot of people who are searching for top-rated visual novels, they'll find Devil Express now because we're top-rated in general and we're tagged visual novel. So some groups of people only are just looking for specific types of games. So if you're tagged properly, those people will be able to find them well. Okay. This is final tip. This is a hot Andrew Carvalho tip. Probably the best piece of advice he gave me when I asked him for advice about this game. If you don't need it to make rent, don't take it too seriously. If you're making a free game for whatever reason, for portfolio building, for shits and giggles, just to get better, don't treat it like it's life or death. Don't treat people in your badly life because you're stressed about your free game. If it's just a passion project, just keep it to passion. That's good advice. Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for watching. You can follow me at Mr. Boyfriend666. You can follow the artist and my partner G at Shut-Eye, and you can play Devil Express at badpet.itch.io. Thanks, everybody. I haven't been looking at chat. Hope they've been nice.
This is awesome, David.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Chat has been
Chat
taking
been
it all
litty?
in. Yes,
Yeah.
Chat is loving it. Absolutely.
As long as I
loving
get the littiest chat, that's all I care about. I'm here for
maybe we'll just hang out for another minute here. If anyone has any questions in the chat, this is a good time to toss it in.
Yeah.
Sorry that I said your game was dead on Twitter as a joke.
Oh no, that's a funny joke. I saw that. And I
It
was
wasn't.
like,
It's alive and well. It's thriving. It's breathing, and yet you still cut it open and you showed us all of its insides. And I think
that's true. I can open the Unity project right now. Let's go. Let's live Russian version, live translate.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun. I highly recommend people show off their game at Dirty Rectangles. It was a really great experience for us. Good confidence booster, and again, a lot of the things you should do for yourself as a developer.
If anyone else out there wants 4 or 5 more Twitter followers, come and present to Dirty Rectangles. That's our guarantee to you.
That's the Dirty Rectangles guarantee.
Yep. Even if I have to make a bunch of new accounts and follow you myself.
Oh, true. That's the Dirty Rectangles promise.
This was Colton. This was really, really awesome. I appreciate you digging in, showing us the stats and the tips and tricks and everything. Love it. Love it.
Oh, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I hope I didn't go too long. I was a little worried about my time there.
No, I think we went a little over, but it was totally worth it.
Yay.
Nothing but Doritos in the chat for you, so I think you explained everything
Thank you,
perfectly.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, thanks for the platform and the opportunity. And if anyone has any questions, you can always message me privately. If anyone's hiring a writer, you could hire me, but
Ooh,
don't have
there you
to.
go.
Don't have to.
You never know.
Yeah.
You might have 4 Dirty Rectangles followers reaching out to you about a hiring gig. We'll see.
I do have 4 Twitter notifications right now. Oh, let's go.
It's all working. All right, we're going to take a quick little 1-minute break. We'll be back with our last presenter of the night. Don't go anywhere.
Bye, guys.
Spoilers, it's Kezia.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our very last presenter of the night, Kezia Adamo. Also Yuffie, but that's okay. She could show up later.
Yep. Hi everybody. So my internet is not good anymore. So I'm using my phone's hotspot. So we'll see if I can get through this presentation. Yeah. Welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about basically my big side project. In the past I showed off a lot of Game Jam games and stuff, but this is like my big game that I've been working on since like 2019, like mid 2019 or so. Right now I've called it Revertices, which I might stick with, but I might get a new name. I don't know. It's good enough for now, so we're gonna stick with that. So this is a very exclusive sneak peek of my side project. So basically what I'm going to talk about is like my idea for the game and like basically sort of a breakdown of what the game actually is, because I've posted GIFs on Twitter, but like I never really go into depth of like what the game actually is. So, and spoilers, I don't know what I'm doing. I work in video games, but that doesn't mean I know how to make games. I don't know how to do anything. It's like I'm an adult, but that doesn't mean I know how to be an adult. All right. So the first question you probably have is, what is this game? So in very layman's terms, it's a 2D side scroller where you can select from 3 playable characters. Oh, that sounds basic. What could that, what, is that it? No, there's more. So basically, the events of the playthrough are determined by which character you select and who you selected last time. And I will explain more in like a couple of slides. So we'll put a pin in that. And you have to fight corrupted versions of the 2 characters you didn't choose. So you're given the choice of the 3 characters at the beginning, and then you have to fight the other 2. So that's sort of the concept. It's existential and eldritch. It wouldn't be a game by me if it wasn't. I'll go a bit into the history of it and inspiration, and then I'll actually talk about the fucking game. So I came up with the concept in mid 2019 and started prototyping like the algorithm for handling like the order of the characters. I talk about that on the next slide. I don't know how to do a PowerPoint. So I've been working on it semi-consistently in 2020. So that's sort of been like what I've been doing most of this year in my spare time, especially because I'm home a lot. So I have been basically working on this outside of work. Obviously trying not to burn myself out. So yeah, it's been my side project. So it's kind of loosely inspired by Odin Sphere. If anyone has played that game, it's a PS2 game. It recently got remastered for PS4. It's if you know Vanillaware, they do these very beautiful hand painted games. They're just beautiful to look at, and they're usually like these like 2D side scroller sort of deals. So yeah, basically in Odin Sphere, there's 5 playable characters, and like they have their own timelines that like match up with each other and battling each other. So you do like one character's arc, and then they fight the other character, but then like a few stories later, you get to that character and you learn their story and why they're fighting them, sort of thing. So anyway, so it's something really loosely inspired by that, but I've always thought that was cool. It's also loosely inspired by I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream the game. It also has 5 different playable characters with their own sort of routes. If you don't know, it's a horror game based off the short story where basically you have like there's like 5 humans left and they get tortured by a supercomputer, and then the supercomputer creates like these scenarios that like reflect their old lives, sort of thing. It's an old adventure game. So sort of I took inspiration from that as well, especially because with this I'm taking more of a horror element, not in the same way, but more surrealism horror than sci-fi horror, I guess. The art style was very inspired by like Yume Nikki and other RPG Maker horror games. So I do art, but I'm not like a professional artist. So I very much like wanted to working within the limitations of like what I'm capable of, and I like drawing surreal monsters and shit. Anyone who knows me knows that. So basically I sort of very much leaned into that almost MS Paint like style, but I wanted it to be smooth. So and I like the jankiness of like RPG Maker horror games. Like I like the aesthetic of like Off and Mad Father, I guess, and like all those other like RPG horror games. Those are always a good aesthetic, I feel. There's a screenshot of I have no mouth and I'm a screen. The characters are into weird, funny looking torture cop, and I sort of want to create something similar for my. Well, I'll go into detail on the next slide. So I'll talk about the general flow and plot of the game now. So the game essentially starts out in a final boss scenario. Basically, there's like the plot is like there's this village of like these shape dudes, and they have to fight like this monster that is like in the depths of the caves off their village, and then they're in like sort of a final boss scenario where they have to fight the monster, but the monster unleashes a devastating attack on all three characters, and that is when the player is given control for the first time to select the character they want to save. So you kind of just throw the player to the wolves automatically. So that's sort of the vibe I'm going for. So you save the one character and then the other two get annihilated and corrupted. So the other two turn into monsters that you have to fight later on. So the character selected wakes up in their destroyed village, and they can speak to NPCs before diving into the depths to defeat the monster and fight their corrupted friends. So the NPCs sort of give like juxtaposition to like the scenario, and like different things will be revealed depending on the order of the characters. So I will go into detail. But as you can see, like this drawing here, I sort of concept the idea of like selecting the characters. I'll be honest, I drew this last night because like the only other drawing I had was bad. And then below was sort of a concept of like how just the game would be structured, where you start at the village and then you go through the rooms. You fight boss 1 and boss 2, which would be the two other characters, and then you fight the final boss. And then the full story would be revealed in different routes. Selection algorithm. So this is where things get interesting, of like how the game is actually structured. Like how the fuck does this game loop actually work? So I labeled them major loops and minor loops. So yeah. So a minor loop is when the game is completed with one of the three characters. So you pick one character, you complete the game with them, it's done. That's one minor loop. But a major loop is complete when the player's played through the game 3 times with each character. So the player would have to pick, let's say, character A, and then they pick character B the next time, and then character C. If the player picks the same character twice in a row, the major loop just gets reset. Hopefully I'm explaining this correctly. Hopefully my really shitty colored in piece of paper that I scanned helps. And then at the bottom, it's just like sort of like the concept of like how they would get corrupted. And yeah, how it works is that basically the character you played as last time, they're slotted into the last slot, so they're the second, always the player you played as last time is always the second boss. Hopefully that actually makes sense. So yeah, the order the player selects the characters in determines what NPCs will say, what dungeons will look like, and most importantly, the other two characters they fight. So yeah, basically each one of these in this picture would be like a different route per se. Okay, this is the mood board intermission where I chug some water and take a breather. Please enjoy my mood board. The characters. So I will introduce the 3 playable characters, and then I will open Unity to show off basically what I have for gameplay so far. So this is Dare Squera, the first character. They hold a high leadership position in the village. They're like a mentor to the other 2 characters. Their weapon is sword. They sort of have like an almost generic sort of swordsman style to their character controller. Their defensive move is like a ground pound using their sword. This is Cern Glecker. Cern is a fighter in training, but unlike the other 2, they often misbehave and refuse to play by the rules. Their weapon is a dagger, so their playstyle is like a high DPS, like high risk, high rewards sort of thing. And then their defensive move is like a dash that damages enemies. And this is Trail Lugeben. Trail is one of the many fighters in the village. They're respected among their peers and often achieve top performance in training. Their weapon is a bow and arrow. And then their defense move is a protective shield that pushes back enemies. So this is sort of like a ranged character. And basically their playstyle just like is all about just keeping distance between them and the enemy versus the other 2, which are clearly melee characters. And I will open Unity now. That's all for the PowerPoint. Now Unity shall be opened. All right, and I'll show off what I have for the characters so far. This is just like the debug room. Obviously I have like a scene for like setting up like the game loop, but it's kind of empty right now. It's a work in progress, so I'm just gonna show off the characters.
Just so you know, Kezia, it currently says it's loading right now, so the stream has been paused.
Oh no! Oh no! What's the issue? I think
minimized the application.
Oh, I see. I have to stop streaming and have to share my Unity scene.
There we go.
Yep, here we go.
We're professional.
I should have done that. Said that earlier. I forgot that was a thing.
All good. You're killing it.
Yep. Lovely. All right. So, here we go. So this is Dares, the swordsman character. So they can slash. Also, these enemies are really buggy and shitty right now, so don't worry. They'll be fixed. So they can sort of like slash, but if they hit an enemy, they'll do like a 3-hit combo, and they do like more damage. They can attack in the air, do a nice flow. They can duck. And their defensive move is this ground pound. So I can do it in the air where I drop instantly, or I can do it on the ground. So it's pretty basic. Like I want to finish this game, and I'm making it by myself. and there's already a lot to do, so I want to keep the character controllers fairly basic. So this is CERN, who, as I said, was like a high DPS character, so attacks really fast, as opposed to Darius. CERN is not complete right now. They don't have a defensive move. I haven't programmed it yet, so you have to wait. But this is sort of their melee attack, and they can attack in the air and on the ground. And there'll be some changes in the end. They're a work in progress. And Trail is coming along nicely, so I'll show off Trail. I'm very happy with how they're coming out. So they can do a charge shot, or they can do rapid shots. They can also charge and shoot in the air, which I think is pretty nice. Or they can do rapid shots in the air and just stay for a short period of time. So yeah, obviously things are still a work in progress, but I'm pretty happy with how the player controllers are coming so far. Anyway, that's it. That's my presentation.
Woo!
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 So cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Oh, I almost forgot to show off their defensive move. My bad. I forgot.
Oh.
Yep, here.
Oh my god, the bubble.
It's a bubble that like pushes enemies away. It's
Oh yeah.
good.
It's the no touching bubble.
It's the no touching bubble. Trail likes to social distance.
It's very,
Yeah.
very confidently and sort of accusationally used when.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're just like, get out of my personal space now.
Yeah.
Does everybody have a ground pound move? Or is it just the
CERN, the green one, will probably have like a dash where they can dash in the air. So probably not. But if it makes sense for them all to have a ground pound move, if I test it out and there needs to be, I might add one in. It's still a work in progress of like exactly how I need the characters to maneuver and like feel fluid enough, but I also don't want to spend forever creating this perfect like Mario-esque character controller.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they all look like really distinct from each other in the way they play, which is really cool. And
that's sort of
they look
what
fun
I
to
was-
control too.
Yeah, thank you. That's sort of what I was going for. Just like these simple characters that they have these different play styles, but they're all like fun to control, and like I want the player to play as them all, so I want them to all feel like fun enough that like they will want to play as them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my game that I've been working on. So I
That's
hope
very
you all
cool.
enjoyed it.
I love
Yes,
it.
thank
And
you.
the cool thing is you could still tag it as furry because maybe under the cloaks, right? You never know.
Oh, that's true.
So
Excellent point. Or I could like
Just,
put fur on like their shape heads.
Sure.
I don't know.
yeah, we're applying lessons that we learned earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
This is so cool. I've been super stoked to actually like see this and see like your thoughts and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know if there's any questions in the chat. This is a good time. If you have any questions, toss them out there.
And the snippets on Twitter have been fun, but it's nice to see it in motion.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, and to
I
see the
wanted to
actual-
like actually show it off and show off what the game is, because like the gifts are nice, but like I wanted to talk in depth of like what my actual plans for this game are, because
Yeah,
I
they're-
think, yeah.
The concept is really cool.
Yep, thank you. I think the concept is good, and hopefully I can actually do something interesting with it.
Someone was asking in chat, will I have to kill Trail?
Yes, you will have to kill. You will have to kill 2 versions of Trail, because each character has like a semi-corrupted version and a full corrupted version. So you get to kill them multiple times.
Oh, there you go.
We'll ask-
yeah, follow-up question
We'll
here.
ask, can you save your corrupted friends? Probably in the true ending, whenever I put together a true ending. Yeah. So I want there to be like a normal ending where like you can't, but then if you like do all the routes, you unlock like the secret route or something, and then you get the true ending. Something like that. That might change, but I want there to be like a true ending where everybody's happy.
Cool.
I love it. I love it.
Pacifist run.
Cool.
The ultimate betrayal.
Oh, that's good.
Thanks,
Thank
Em.
you, Em. That's really good.
Well, cool. Normally, this is actually super convenient because we're just rolling straight from you into the end credits here.
Yeah, exactly.
This was super awesome. Did everyone have a good night?
Yeah, this was a blast. Thank you.
Who had the best night?
Amazing presentations here.
I think maybe the floating James had the best night.
And then there was...
I mean, I'm here in the lab with all my friends. I had a few more.
Yeah, James has been smiling this whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's up, James?
I had a few more announcements actually that I forgot to do earlier in the show that I had actually written down earlier and then forgot to do. So just a couple of little things before we go out. Thanks everybody for listening. I'm sure everybody had fun like we did tonight. Yeah, just a couple last little things that are going on in Toronto and in Ontario in general. Dames Making Games, they're having an info session for Damage Labs tomorrow, September 10th at 6 o'clock. They're saying it will go until 6:30. So look for that on the DMG website to get all the information. I'm sure that will probably be, like an online thing through Zoom or something like that. But yeah, it's a new initiative. They're starting to try to get some studio startup funding, I think, aimed at founding some new studios led by marginalized and underrepresented founders. So if you're interested in that, that seems up your alley, check it out tomorrow at 6 p.m. You can find more information on the Dames Making Games websites. You can just search for them on Google. They have a good presence. The other thing is that Shapes, which is a cool plugin for Unity that allows you to draw a lot of really smooth, really nice looking vector graphics for stuff like UIs or whatever crazy ideas you have. It is half off right now in the store. So it's a great little plugin by Freya Holmer or Holmier. I'm not sure how you say her name actually, I'm afraid. But anyway, it's a great plugin. So yeah, usually $100 right now. It's $50 if you can do the math on the 50% off there. Yeah, so a good opportunity to pick that up. And that's
awesome.
Sweet. And yeah, if you have things that's going on that you want the community to know about, message us. We'll spin an announcement up either at the beginning of the show, or if you forgot, throw a message at us during the show, and we'll do one of these, and it's all good. And also, if you want to present on this show, there's lots of ways that you could do it. You could either message Dirty Rectangles on Twitter, which is just at Dirty Rectangles, or our Toronto counterparts at rectangles_TO. Or if you happen to follow any of the organizers, you can message us directly as well too, and then we'll get you onto our Discord, and you can present. There's really no rules or stipulations about any of that shit. So if you want to show something off, just message one of us, and we'll get you on the show, and we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. Any last thoughts or takeaways from anybody here tonight?
Video games are cool.
Nailed it.
Some of them anyway.
So if you take away anything from 2020, let it be that video games are cool. That's the one thing. So this will be archived and saved up onto YouTube, so you can follow it up there. Follow us on Twitter, obviously, at Dirty Rectangles. Again, rectangles_TO for Rectangles Toronto. We'll be back next month with another one of these, but we're also doing some other shows, so feel free to watch our Twiddle channel, also our Twitch channel, for all the new shows that we're working on as well too. Working our way to becoming Twitch affiliates, and then hopefully we can do some fun stuff I don't know. We'll see if it happens.
It's fun. We played Goonies, we played Jaws, and
we did
played
play Goonies.
some games not even based on movies at all. Like we played Rescue the Embassy Mission, aka Hostages.
It's gonna be fun. Cool. All right, I think that's it for us, everyone. I was gonna say go home and go to bed, but you're probably already home. So have a nice big glass of water. Have a good sleep. Sleep in if you can. If you can't, I'm sorry. You know. I don't know. I got nothing. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. We'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good night. Thank you.